Hi, good evening, everyone. In Europe, good afternoon to everyone in North America. Welcome to the second Women in Games Esports webinar. Women in Games very proud to put on this event with Able Esports from Canada and CL Gaming. My name is David Smith. I'm the founder and COO of Women in Games. And lead on esports. Women in Games is a not-for-profit now in its 11th year. We run a very successful ambassador program with over 300 ambassadors now in 40 different countries. Over 40 ambassadors in the last 3 months have joined from esports. Women in Games is building a coalition of advisors and supporters to help and attract and retain as many women in esports as we can. So everyone on this webinar can be an advisor or supporter of Women in Games, and we hope you will be. If you would like to get more closely involved with Women in Games, we will tell you more at the end. Before I hand over to Steph and the fantastic panel that we have, can I just ask one thing? Can everyone go into their chat screens, make sure it's focusing on to all panelists and attendees, and just tell us where you're from? Say hi from London, greetings from California. That would be fantastic if you could do that. Let us know where you are. I know you're from all over the world, but you don't know that. You're going to find out in a second when people post their greetings from all over the world. Okay, that's going well. So now I'd like to hand over to Steph, Miss Harvey, and the amazing panel. So I'm going to disappear and allow all these amazing panelists to appear.
Hello. Hi everyone, and then you guys see us pop up. Boop, 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 boop. Bunch of women showed up on your screen. You should see 6 of us. Welcome to this new Women in Games panel. I'm honored to be hosting it today. My name is Miss Harvey, and I'm joined with 5 wonderful ladies. First of all, for whoever doesn't know me, I'm a former pro. By the way, I stole that saying from your bio, sapphiRe editor. I usually say ex-pro. I think it's much cuter to say former pro. I'm a former Counter-Strike professional. I played on teams like SK Gaming, Check 6 and whatnot, and I'm now I played most of my career on CLG, Counter Logic Gaming, which is the team Goose is on right now. And I'm currently a director at CLG working on gaming initiatives. And I'm joined today with these 5 ladies. So let me introduce them a little bit one by one. So let's start with Heather. Heather is also a former pro. She's probably the longest reigning CS lady in the community from, I think you started in like 2000?
Beginning, yeah. 2000.
You are currently the VP of Marketing at Dignitas, and you won world champion or 2?
One,
but you've been a finalist multiple times. It's my honor to have you today on this panel. Welcome, Heather.
Thanks for having me, Steph.
Oh, you're also one of the best observer in the game. And for those who knows a little bit about CS, she's my favorite observer of all time. I know when she's observing, I'm like, this is Heather observing. And we have joined with me today Munira as well. Let me jump to Munira. Goose Breeder is one of the best current player, Counter-Strike player in the world. You have how many world championship?
I think 4.
4 world championships under your belt, and you have competed both for Dignitas here with Heather, or under Heather, as well as now you're currently on CLG Red, wearing their jersey right now. Yeah. How are you, Munira? Are you doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be here today. Excited to talk.
Yes. We also have Julie Bouchard. Ooh, ooh. Julie is
Hello.
from Quebec City. She's a semi-pro Counter-Strike player. So we tried to have from pros, ex-pros to pros to a
All the
semi
levels. All the levels.
on this panel because it's important to see a 360 perspective of what's going on in
Yeah.
Counter-Strike. Julie, you're from Canada. You've been both part of amateur and in pro tournaments before.
Yeah.
From representing Canada at the World Cup a couple of times. How are you?
I'm doing good. Pleasure to be here. I'm excited to talk about the gaming female scene because I see all the levels. I think I got a perspective of all the, all sides. So
Yes. And we also have two ladies from Able Esports. Let me introduce them one by one, though, because they're wonderful on their own as well. Let's start with Somali Smiley Odette. Somali, you've also been a little bit part of the community at every level, but extremely involved in Quebec, I would like to say. And you're currently on Able Esports, a younger female team.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Excited to be here as well. I think it's going to be a great webinar.
Yes, and last but not least, Kimi, who started this whole panel, who organized most of it. Kimi, also on Able Esports. You are actually from across the world, and you moved to America. Welcome. How are you, Kimi?
I'm good. I'm excited to be with all these pretty ladies.
Yes. So as David mentioned, guys, you can ask questions at any time in the chat. There's also a Q&A section that you guys can use, and you can upvote the questions and whatnot, or use chat. I'm going to try to be extremely interactive. So if you have any questions to the ladies, don't hesitate. We have people from all across the world, so I'm really glad to see you guys. Okay, so first of all, let's set a little bit let's settle the status of where Counter-Strike and women are currently in the sphere. Just so that you guys might or may not know, with COVID, obviously a bunch of things changed, but we currently have a couple of online events for women only. One that's coming up next weekend that all 6 of us are going to be in, whether we're going to be on the desk, Edgar's going to be on the desk, or competing, the 5 of us. Yes, I'm an ex-pro and I'm a former pro, but I'm still going to compete in that event. I would like to start with, you know what, let's jump to Goose Breeder. Let's start with you. I would like you to describe to us what's the current female scene. What's the current situation for the female scene in Counter-Strike, especially in North America? We have only North American people here, so maybe we can focus on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from my perspective, how I see the NA scene, I guess over the last like 5-6 years that I've been playing, from my perspective, I definitely think it's grown. I don't know if I would say it's like grown a lot, but I've definitely seen like more teams. For example, Able is an example of like new teams, like the DreamHack tournament that's coming up. There's been a couple teams registering. I've definitely seen some growth. I do feel like there's a lot of casual women players who don't necessarily take it to the next level. I've seen a lot of like women groups, stuff like that. I guess in comparison to EU, because I roughly know how like the EU scene is, I definitely know there's a lot more women in that scene than there is in North America. So I guess in sheer numbers, that's how I see the female scene. I guess I would like to see it kind of taken up a notch, get like more competitive, more women try to get in the scene. So that's like the scratching the surface.
Somali, I think that you are a big example of that. You've always been like scratching the surface of competition, but kind of not really taking it seriously, but sometimes wanting to do so. Can you testify to what Munira just said?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that's what Munira said is true. I mean, there's CLG and Dignitas, right? The 2 big teams that we know. But I feel like a player like me, we never know with who to play for like what team. So when there's women event, we're gonna be a bunch of girls together just playing for that event. But I've never seen like big female team sticking together through a whole season or year, just because I feel there's like not enough teams. So I'm glad to be on Able right now, because that's what we do. We played the ESC season, and now we're playing tournaments just because we have an org behind us, and that makes us stick together. I don't know if that makes sense. Just because if you don't have an org or people behind you, you're just gonna play for like few tournaments for a few days, and then after that, the team's just gonna disband, and then probably play with other people for other events. So I feel like it's important to have like more org picking up like teams, female teams that will want to stick together, and I think it's gonna make the esport women's scene grow up. I think, from my perspective.
Heather, if considering what we've just talked about the current scene, what do you think it was like in the early 2000s? Like, what's the main difference between now and then?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the early 2000s, first off, just finding other women to play with was incredibly difficult. Very often, like, I would be the only woman in the room, and if I wanted to join a female team, that was very difficult thing to do. Now there's at least like Discord groups and various organizations and even teams that are bringing females together, and it's easier to at least see like, okay, you know, kind of here's my path, you know, I start just playing, you know, kind of amateur on my own, and then I graduate and I get recruited to a team like Able Gamers, and that's great. And now I start qualifying and making it into bigger events, and then, you know, a lot of times people say the end goal is kind of your Dignitas or your CLG of North America. One of the biggest differences years ago, and I was in the same place as Smiley, is yeah, I would look up to your team and like, you know, the SK Gaming is, there's only one slot for a North American team in a lot of these events. And so why waste my time? Why put all this effort if only one team's going to make it? And I don't think I can beat the best of the best yet. So what's really great is that a lot of these events like DreamHack Showdown have now expanded to allow more teams from each region. And it's given more motivation for females to come together and try and hopefully make a name for themselves.
You brought the exact point that I've kind of felt this whole time. I feel that the SK Gaming and the CLG Red and the Dignitas are amazing success stories, but it kind of killed any competition in NA. And it's really hard for another team to make their place if you compare it to the European team. Julie, can you comment a little bit on that? Because you are, I want to say, probably the top player that's like right there to make it to these. So you're just like right there, right?
Honestly, I agree with everybody. Like, there's like CLG and there's Dignitas, and then under, like, obviously Dig and CLG, like, they can make a living off gaming, but if you're under, like, you're in between, you have to go to school and like either find a job, go to school, and like you can focus on just gaming. So it's kind of rough to you, like, be at your top level, and it's rough to join these teams. So you're like in between, do I go back to school, do I do gaming? And then you grow older, like I'm 24 now, so I have to think about other, you know, school or jobs. So it's really rough, like, to have like just two teams and like that's it, you know, like it's hard. So yeah.
You said something that is really important, and I'm just going to jump into the Q&A right away because there's one question that fits exactly what you said. Marie-Roy asked, I've been following CS for many years, and it's sad that she hasn't followed a lot of women's CS. She was wondering what the support system looks like, and it's something that you mentioned a couple seconds ago where, you know, you barely have any support. So let's talk about the support system that we have as women into CSGO, whether it's these organizations that support us and when we're on our own, what are the support system? Kimi, do you want to jump into it right now?
Yeah, I think in terms of support system, I'm gonna talk about Able. I think Able Esports, like our org, has given us like quite a few opportunities to, you know, participate in tournaments, even though we're not, you know, at the top like CLG or Dignitas, but having the opportunity to like grow with your team, to participate in these tournaments, to be competitive against like other teams, I think that was super encouraging. Like you know, we're not the best teams out there, but they're like, go do this, go have fun, go compete, go feel how it feels like to, to compete at the highest level, because like obviously there's no teams, like we kind of like we talk about. There are teams, but these are just like casual gamers who like come together and build one. Able Esports has played like a whole season together. Fortunately, we didn't make playoffs, but that's besides the point. But like we played DreamHack. We're currently playing the Supergirl tournament. And just having opportunities like those, I think, are really encouraging and really helpful to teams like us.
So,
Yeah.
so having a org backup, if I understand correctly, having an org backup, even if it's not monetary, but it's just like having people to support you, let's just go, blah, 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 and having these tournaments to compete in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heather and Goose, what would you say that we did right in these 20 years as a community to support women in CS?
I mean, we looked after each other. We were our own support, really. We helped each other build our brands. If someone's going to pay you a salary to play, they want to make sure there's eyeballs on you. And when you're an amateur team, that's very difficult to do. So it really comes down to like building your brand, showing off why you're great players, why you're great pioneers for the community. And so I know, we're very vocal on social media. We create vlogs, we do live streaming. Like we tell our own story so that hopefully one day an organization picks us up and says like, we want to help you tell that story and we want to put some money behind it. But a lot of it's kind of building your brand and telling people why they should care about you.
Yeah, I would like to agree. I think that we create a reason to be on orgs. We make it like, a lot of the times people say that like women are token for marketing, but I like to say they make that space. If it was that easy, every org would have a CSGO women's team, and that's not the case. So there's definitely two teams that did it differently in NA at least, and those were Dig and CLG Red. Goose, would you agree with that's one of the things we did right? Can you think of any other that we did right?
I think Heather pretty much nailed most of it. I do think like a good point she made was like pretty much standing out. Making yourself special is definitely a good thing to do in any space if you want to be noticed. Whether it's your personality or just your sheer talent, your hard work, your dedication, there's a lot of ways, in my opinion, to stand out. If you don't have the best social skills, I'm not the best person with social skills, so I try to stand out in just my performance, and I try to use that to chime and while I work on other aspects. I think that's definitely a good point. I think the scene is very small, so I think like helping each other out is a good thing. I think teams like CLG and Dig can definitely share their experience with smaller teams, up and coming gamers. I guess just kind of be like heart to heart, I guess, with some of the smaller teams and people who want to get into the scene. Might be a good way to encourage people as well.
And before jumping into the questions, because we have really good questions about how to make it there, how to push, I just want to ask one more question, open to all. What do you guys think we did bad? Like whether the female scenes did bad or the esports scene did bad to support women? I have my own opinion on it, but I'm not here to share that. I want to hear from you, ladies. What do you think, honestly, we messed up in the last 20 years regarding women in CSGO? This is a touchy one, guys. You can let it out. You can let it out.
Yeah, something to think about.
Okay, let me give a little pat here, just so to tease. What about safe spaces?
Well, for me personally, like I haven't been playing for a long time, but when I came in, I had like the biggest French accent, and I was a girl, and I was playing alone. It was really hard for me to get to have people were not nice to me at all when I was playing alone. So it was rough for me to come back every night and like push through. But once I got like a support system, like friends, like girls to play with, it was better. But before that, it was hard for me to stay. I almost left like after like a year, because like every night, like, you know, like because my French accent, I was a girl, like it was really hard. And then now it's better, but I feel like for other players that like just start up, like it's not fun, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's one issue that I see a lot still.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I kind of like a similar story to Julie here. Like when I first got, started playing Counter-Strike with my little laptop, I got told to go back to the kitchen, make me a sandwich on an ESC event.
Every
I don't know how
day.
I managed it with my laptop, but it did happen. But I think, yeah, just because we haven't been playing in the scene, or like even just like as casual gamers, we haven't been playing long. We kind of just like got brought up in this community where it was just like,
I've never,
so
yeah.
against women. Like, well, not to say so against women, but like, keyboard warriors are just like being misogynistic towards like us. And I don't like, at the time I didn't know why. Like, why is this such an issue?
Yeah, I've never
Like,
saw
I'm
that
a girl,
before.
I like to game. So what? Why does there have to be like a huge gap between like male gamers and female gamers? Like, I can be as good as you can be. Like, I can guarantee you now I'm in a place where I'm probably better than all the male that have like been toxic to me. And
Hell yeah.
yeah.
And I'm going to ask the question to follow up on that from one of the attendee. Someone asked, taking that into account, what you just said, what would be your advice for girls coming up in the scene with respect to playing on a mixed team or an all-women team? The pros and the cons of each path. And I want to start right away and saying one of the pros is that if you play with women, your gender is never questioned, and there's never any talk about the fact that you're women. If you suck, it's not because you're a woman, it's because you suck. There's no other factor in play. And for me, that was a big part of why I enjoyed playing with women. It was about, you didn't do your homework last night. It was not about, oh well, it's okay, you're a woman, what other pros and cons do you guys think of playing on a mix or a women's team at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could take this away. I've done like one mixed team when I was before I actually started any female teams, actually. I do think there's pros and cons to both sides. I think you stated a clear pro. I think a sense of community is definitely helpful, especially to, like, for example, Boucha, he said like it was really hard for you to get into the scene. It can really like encourage you to keep going, like when you have people who got your back. When you just feel like you're alone in a space, I'm sure that's not fun for anyone. Like, that feeling is probably not helpful in continuing your pursuit of, your passion or whatever. I do think there's some pros to playing on a mixed team. I know there's not a lot of female teams right now, so it's probably tough for like, it takes like a leader to like band women together, and there might not be enough leaders in the female scene right now to do that. Like, some people have to like step up and make teams. For example, like Dignitas, like Karma never had an org for a long time, but it took people banding together, and then eventually it became Dignitas. And same with United, became CLG, right? So it took like leaders to band together and like stick through times where there was no real support, and fight for that support and fight for that space. So I think that's, I guess, one thing to touch on. And then my point is, because there's not a lot of female teams and opportunities right now, I think if like women want to like better their skill quickly, if they want to like join like I guess the point I'm trying to make is there is a lot of men, so there's a lot of skilled men. So if you join a mix with a lot of skilled players, you'll increase your skill quicker, which is my point. There's pros and cons to playing in both, obviously. I think that, for example, if you joined like CLG or Dig, you would have a lot of structure. You would be learning a lot of things that I don't even think mixed teams actually do. Like, I think the way, for example, if I were to compare like my practice structure right now to maybe other teams, I think that, we have goals every day. We have a structure to actually improve ourselves. We have sports psychologists we're working with. Like, we're lucky to have that. But I think like our system is encouraging us for growth in a lot of areas that maybe a mixed team wouldn't have. They don't have that type of resource. They might not even know that's like a useful skill to have or a useful thing to implement into their team. So I guess that's like one thing to touch on. Like, I know Dig has like structure as well. So some mixed teams, like they just kind of pug it out, and some you might be lucky to have like some structure. But yeah, I think there's definitely pros and cons to both. Yeah, I hope I made my point.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
very clear.
I was going to add on a bit, and I think I know what you're getting at with Steph in terms of safe spaces, is that, for the last 20 years, there's been many attempts at kind of women-only safe spaces, and I'm personally not a fan of those, in that, like, we need men to be our allies too. Like, it's not just all about women. If to solve inclusivity issues, you don't segregate us from men, essentially, and that's great having women's teams, women's tournaments. I'm a big supporter of them, but it's very important that men are allies too. One of my favorite things we did recently at Dignitas is we did a Wingman Tournament, which is 2v2, and we paired our women's and our men's players together. So Emily and Forrest are playing together. Forrest is one of the best player to ever have played Counter-Strike. And
I agree. He's my favorite player of all time.
Of all the wonderful things Emily has done, like, unfortunately, maybe, is, she got some of the most respect by just playing with Forrest, and all of Forrest's tens of thousands of fans seeing Emily play and like saying, "Wait a minute, she's actually legit." And Forrest vouching for her too. It helps. Like, there's nothing wrong with having your male friend like vouching for you in game. And I know there's obviously a horrible stigma about like being a white knight, or I guess they call it a simp now. I don't know. Simp.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I mean, we need men to be our allies too, I think.
Be like a normal human,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like you don't have to be a simp to be just a normal person on the internet.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point.
I also believe that, to what you said to Summer, I don't know why I called you Summer. I saw Summer in chat, and I was, to what you said, Heather. I think that it's also important to have a white male talk to white males. It's like sometimes a white woman or an Asian woman, or talking to a white male, as much as this is a sensitive topic, the message doesn't always connect, because people don't relate. They can't relate, and they don't listen. So I think that if we can send that message in multiple ways, we can be the most effective. So, Mali, a lot of people in chat are asking a question that I want you to answer, because you're probably in the heart of it right now. There's a lot of people that are asking, yeah, this is all fun and stuff, but how do I find women to play with? How do we find women to compete or to start a team with, even at the lowest level? We mentioned how hard it can be and how we need these leaders, but let's say you want to be led or you want to be one of those leaders. How do you make that happen in 2020?
I mean, I guess, like we said, there's a lot of female tournaments, right? There's a lot of female Discord that we have. If you find those, you'll see a lot of women looking for teammates and stuff. So I'd say just give it a shot. You just message them, try to play with them. If they're a great fit to you, stick with them. And there's so many women like lonely player that are looking for teams. So I feel like if all those women would stick together, we could have so many girls team, right? So I think just look on the internet, Discord's women Discord, and that's probably how I met most of all the friends that I have now. But facet hubs, woman facet hubs, where you can just like 10 women and just play with random people. You don't know them, you don't know anybody, but that's fine. You're just going to be paired with random people, and that's how you're going to make great friends. And after that, once you have like 2, 3, 4, 5 female friends, they will introduce you to more friends, and goes on and on and on. And that's probably how the best way to like find females to play with. I think I think that would be my advice. That's what I did, and it worked out. So
but it's still very difficult, even knowing all of that. There's no I like to say that ECA, you can say if you're a woman or a male. That's probably like the best like bank, but you can't like search for women.
No,
So
true, yeah. So yeah, my best advice would be like probably Discords. I have a few Discords, just women Discord. So and there's probably like 50, 60 people in it. So I think just message in general chat like, hey, I'm looking for teammates. I mean, I think that could work out. And then it's easier because you know there's women in there and you're a woman, so you're not afraid to be like, hey, I'm a woman, I want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're gonna just sign notes because I see in chat that some people are saying that the facet of Discord might be dead. We're gonna restart our red little 2v2s cup soon, so you can also join the Red Fuel Discord. Is something that we try to push. Okay, so we're 30 minutes in, 35 minutes in. I'm gonna try to focus us a little bit on the Q&As because a lot of people are extremely involved in this discussion, but don't hesitate to chime in as well with the topics that we had today, the good and the bads of the 20 years of CS women, especially in NA. Okay. This one is going to be for everyone. Josh is asking, has there ever been, or do you still have issues with scheduling scrimmage against your male counterparts? I think that's an amazing question. I've never been asked that before. I would say the answer is yes, but I'm not going to say why. So I want one of you guys to say why, to schedule scrims, whether it's joining a server and they see that you're able women playing, or Goose and Header, when you guys schedule pro, semi-pro, and pro scrimmage, have you guys been turned down because
If I can answer that one, for us, Able, we don't. Our names is Able Scrim, so we don't have female in it. So when we join, it's a little different because we don't schedule scrims. We just find them on ESCA just randomly. We never got rejected for being women. Yeah, sometimes they see that we're women, they will start talking in the chat, but then after that, you just ignore them. That's fine. But I don't think we never had any problems finding scrims.
Do you think if you were named Able Female Scrims or Able Girls Scrims?
I mean, probably. I mean, people would probably like, oh, it's a female team, let's beat them, or let's play against them, or we would probably get rejected because people would think that we're maybe not as good, or I don't know. Probably would happen, and that's one of the reasons why we didn't put any female or FE in our names. But yeah, we never had any problems this season finding scrims.
Yeah, in general, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad. Okay, that's good to hear. Goose, what about y'all?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could chime into that. My initial reaction, I guess, this is just like a feeling. I feel like women have to kind of do like double to like get the space they're deserved. Like if I was a guy, I had the same amount of skill. You know, like people would either accept me or not, just purely based on my skill. I don't think a lot of people actually reject playing against us. I think us as a team, we've proven that we're capable. Some people probably still want to doubt us, but I think most people respect us at this point, at least. I think we're lucky enough to have earned that respect, but I do think you have to earn the respect a little harder than like maybe other people. I mean, I definitely have been like rejected in the past for a scrim, whether that was like because they thought we sucked or whatever. I think everyone gets rejected, but I guess it's hard to say whether or not it was because we were females. I guess like Smiley was saying, you know, it probably happens, but I guess because we're like an advanced right now and we're doing pretty all right, so I think we don't really have that issue anymore.
Header, other than simply recruiting and supporting a female roster, which we're all fortunate here to be part of an org that picked a female roster, what can the orgs do to further promote and encourage women to take up gaming, especially at a more competitive level?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, you know, first off, I think having female representation in every org is important, whether they're competitors, whether they're content creators, whether it's staff. I mean, you know, the stats say like a little over 50% of gamers are women. Mm-hmm. And I think a new stat came out about 30% or so of esports fans are women. So there's no reason that every org should not have at least 30% representation of women, no matter, you know, what they're involved in. And then as far as, you know, the competitive aspect, you know, it's a big investment to bring in a Counter-Strike team, no matter what. But, you know, if you want them to travel around the world, but, you know, bringing in maybe an amateur team to help build their brand, their social, give them opportunities that they might not have otherwise had. You know, I think it's important at least to have some representation of women, especially because we know the players are women, the fans, at least 30% are women. There's no reason they shouldn't be represented, and there's things you can do. Like, you should be, like, our women's team gets a lot, you know, the same treatment as our men's team. We're giving Emily the same opportunities as Forrest. We see no reason we shouldn't. And we'd love to see other orgs do the same. I know CLG Red does a great job of that, but we're not necessarily seeing that across other orgs. And I'd love to see, you know, better treatment and better representation of those women when they are in an organization.
And I you know, it's funny to see that, but also there's women in both of these orgs at the staff level, you know, and it's a big difference when you have staff women or people that believe and put women in charge. You see more women support. You know, it's as simple as that, and it helps the whole overall community to be more diverse. I think that this is a question that was awesome to be answered by two org people, but I also want to see what you guys think. Like Boucha, for example, what would you like to see, whether it's from an org you're playing for or whether it's an org you're a fan of, to support women in gaming?
That's a really good question. I don't really know how to answer right now, but I'll think about it. Honestly, I'm not sure like how to answer this right now.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
It's a really hard question because like it's like there's some orgs that do and some that don't, so it's like really rough. And I think just like CLG and Dig are doing a really good job of like putting their plays out there for like everyone to see and like be inspired by. But like other orgs, I'm not sure like how they could help better. But yeah.
Okay, let's talk about, Bianca is asking, do you feel that making all female teams is a step towards acceptance, or it can be considered as a divider between women and men's team? And it's something that I thought about my whole career. So I think it's interesting to have women in women's team answer that question. Anyone wants to take the lead?
I'd actually love to chime in on that.
Let's go.
So hold on. I actually have to think about my thoughts real quick. Can you repeat the question one more time for me?
Yes, I just put it to answered. I'm so sorry. Okay, I found it.
Good.
Actually, I did know about it. Okay. Do you feel that making all female teams is steps towards overall acceptance? Or do you think it's creating an even more barrier?
So yeah, I actually see this all the time. It's like it's often like portraying that female teams is actually dividing versus doing a service, which I think long term I would actually agree with that, but not at the stage of where female CS is right now. I don't think there's nearly enough women in the scene, more specifically NA. I think if it really was an issue, it would be more so. Okay, so here's one thing that I want to talk about. So think about the men that play competitive CS right now. There's like literally like 9 dudes and 1 chick. It's sometimes 10 dudes in every game. Like, so you're lucky if you're queuing with like Kimmy and Smiley and Boucha, like that's the like most amount of women you're going to be playing with. But if you think about it just like that, how much opportunity is there for women to be successful, to be competitive, to be good? If you think about it, if you have 5 women and you have 30 dudes, how likely are you to find good players amongst them? You're probably going to maybe get like 1 good female player. You're going to get like 5 good male players. And if you just think about that in like I don't know the statistics, so I can't go into like detail, but if you just think about it like that, you're more likely to have better male players than better female players. So I think that number 1, growing the female scene is a good way to do this. I think we need female tournaments. We need things that push women right now because we just don't have enough women. We don't have enough women. I would love to see women competing at the same level as pro teams, and I know that like personally speaking, like CLG Red, we have goals to, like I think we compete against people at our level right now. We want to take it a step further, MDL, and who knows, maybe we can make pro one day. We're definitely not there yet, but like those are aspirations of ours. But if there's more women, there's more likeliness to have better women, more skilled women. Like they're competing against each other. Now it's just, you're not just on a female team because like you were the only option, or like that's happened before, right? So I definitely think female tournaments are very important right now. I do think that in the grand scheme of things, once there's way more women, then that's definitely like something that I would like to see, more mixed teams. But I just don't think we're there yet. I think we need that stepping stone right now. So I just see this a lot. So I really wanted to hit this because I feel like it's a common opinion that, well, if you guys want to, make the women's scene better, why are you segregating instead of like joining mixed teams? And I do think that's a good answer. And I think, Heather, you even touched on this before, but yeah, I think all women want to see us, collided with our male counterparts, but I just definitely think there needs to be a stepping stone right now.
I'm gonna add to that, like just having a female scene, and like for me, seeing like a tournament in real life, like there's like males and females, made me play the game. Like just seeing you guys successful made me play the game. So I think it's gonna bring more women also than like just seeing males all the time. Like if I see females being successful, I'm gonna want to be that too. So it helps bring people right now. I wish there was more, but it helps for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, I would like to add to all of you, I really do believe, and Bianca, who asked the question, I think it's a non-issue. I think it's actually not a problem, and it's just the fact that people get upset about women tournament. It's a non-issue. It's a it doesn't affect males, first of all, and they're usually the one that complains the most. It has nothing to do with them. It's for women to support women, but for some reason males complain about it.
There's always a misconception that they're taking prize money from the men and giving it to the women, and that's not how that works. Like this is this is on top of that.
And I think people just have to realize that that's the reality of the current situation in the female gaming community. Kind of like what the whole spiel that Goober just did. Like that's the reality of our situation. Like for us to get to our goals, like you said, Goose, we need a stepping stone. But as for now, like it's our reality. Like what can we do?
Yeah,
there's nothing we can do for now but to take action against those things.
And I'll add.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
I'll add
go
one
ahead.
thing onto what Steph said is that it doesn't matter. This is, at the end of the day, this is a video game and it's about having fun. And I always tell people, play with who you want to play with. If it's all females, great. If it's 4 males, great. Like, who cares? To me, it doesn't matter. As long as more people are playing games and they're having fun, at the end of the day, I think that's what really matters.
The female tournaments doesn't take away the chance of a woman to play on the male team. They can still do that. They can already do that. And that's what I always try to explain. Like, if you don't believe in women's tournament, go play with males. Like, no, you have been allowed and you will always be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And I always feel that being on a female team and competing in the women's tournament is a band-aid. I've said that for the last 10 years, I think. And Pi is asking in chat, I hope I pronounce your name right, because your name is really beautiful. It's Pi Frojde. How do we fight the misogyny and toxicity in multiplayer games, not just when it comes to the level of esports games, but for amateur as well, so they want to keep playing? So we can't answer that for everyone, but I want us to answer with our experience, like in CS especially. How do we fight that toxicity using our behavior, like the women, but also what we wish the community had in place to help us fight it?
That's a tough one. For nearly 20 years, and this literally has only changed in the last couple months, my answer would always just, you have to have tough skin, and that's it. Like, that's the response. Just learn to mute it. And I had a particularly bad experience playing Valorant a couple weeks ago, and I said nothing in the game besides like, can you drop me a weapon or something? And I was harassed throughout the duration of the game, and I'm used to it, and I had recorded it and put it on social and just said like, hey, like if you're the kind of guy that says this, like imagine if this was your sister, your girlfriend, your daughter, like would you really do this? Like, knock it out. And I had to turn off my phone for a good week because this clip happened to go viral. And you'd think most people would say, oh, that's disgusting, the responses I got, thousands, were saying, just mute him, you're a crybaby, you're a snowflake,
Are you?
pussy.
I saw that post, but I didn't see the comments. Are you kidding me?
The comments are awful. I'm like, this is just, everyone's just doubling down on this. And I'm like, for me, okay, I've dealt with for 20 years and I do have tough skin, but I look at a coworker of mine, and her young sister who's 13 or 14 has started playing Valorant, and I'm terrified for the day that's going to happen to her because yes, you can mute them, but it already impacts you the first time they say something. The problem is, and I wish I had an answer, it's hard to have an answer. Like if any of us here knew exactly, like we would have solved this a long time ago if we could. It comes down, like you got to have good support systems. The game publishers need to do their job in punishing these people, and I would like a feedback system to know that if they are reported, that they are banned, because that's going to make me feel a little better. Like, okay, their actions are being reprimanded. Okay, I feel a little better about this. But there's a lot of different places this have to come to. And then it kind of goes back to like, I'd love to see better support of like youth esports. So to become a better player, you don't necessarily have to go into the matchmaking, the wild west of matchmaking. Like you can have a kind of like a little league system like you do for baseball for kids. You have a system that you go through that's more of a, I hate using the safe space word, but it's a little more of a controlled environment. But there's so many things that need to be fixed. Unfortunately, I wish I knew the one answer.
I want to ask Kimi, you're about to say something.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say like, and it's sad too that it's not just in the gaming world. It's like the reality of our societal like issues. Like women, day by day, daily, they get problems from these. Like all the toxicity. It's not just through a mic or through a keyboard. It's every day. It's real, and honestly, I think the only way that we could probably do something about it is just education. Like it starts from education.
Yeah, it's a big.
Literally, almost every gamer, or maybe not, quite a few of like the gamers that are playing they're going to school. They're getting their education done. Some are in college and things like that. And I think like the whole issue just stems from education, or the lack of, to say. And I think there's a long way to go before it can reach online, the online environment. So I think it's just education's just everything at this point. Like there's nothing we can do to change a lot, but there are some steps to take.
What can an ally in the server do when someone gets insulted that way, whether it's a woman or not? When you see cyberbullying happen in CS, what can you do as a bystander? What do you guys think?
I actually read something recently that was like, if like this guy's being crazy in game, like going off, right? And just like one person tells him to STFU, like every time he does it, he's probably gonna stop by like the 9th game. He's probably not gonna open his mouth, right? Like you don't want to be told to STFU like over and over, right? But if like I'm not afraid to bite back on people like this, honestly, but like not everyone's gonna want to do that. And I understand that. Not everyone wants to. I understand that like muting people, I saw this in the chat earlier, muting people also does ruin a bit of the experience. Like you want to hear call outs, but you also don't want to hear this dude like talking smack the whole game either. So it's like it's one or the other, I guess. Yeah, I definitely think just people just speaking up more, just, that's not cool. You don't even have to be a simp. Listen, you don't have to be a simp to be a normal person. I think this is like something that just people don't think that you're a simp or you're a jerk, like one or the other. But you can just be normal. You can just be a normal person and not. Would you talk to, like sapphiRe said, would you talk to your sister, your mother that way? Like, how'd you feel if your mom's just trying to play a game and everyone's like talking smack every game to her? Like, you'd probably feel terrible. Like, you're like, yo, don't talk to my mom that way. It's like, okay, well, why do you let people talk to other people that way? And I understand that everyone on the internet gets smack. It's different. I think that's like a huge thing that people say all the time. Yeah, everyone gets the same thing, just it's just targeted differently. But it's like, if every woman is sitting here saying, okay, this happens to me all the time, like, does it really happen to you every game you solo queue? Like, I don't actually feel like that's true.
One of the best thing that my boyfriend told me one day is that from hearing me talk about it all the time, that every time I get in a server, it's acknowledged, either positive or negative, that I'm a woman. Like, even if you hear that, oh, there's a girl in the server, right? It's already acknowledged. Different.
Yeah.
He said that now every time there's a girl in the server and one of the guys he plays with says that, or any other person says that, he just goes like, dude, don't be that man, or don't be that guy.
That's good.
Yeah.
And just saying that as diffused, he says, like, probably 90% of the interactions.
Yeah.
Like, just saying, don't even acknowledge that it's a girl. Who cares?
Just act normal. Like,
And by being that third person, by being like a bystander that steps up and says, don't be that guy, who cares? He hopes to make a difference. And I've been really grateful to have like an ally next to me that does this kind of thing. So if you're a woman, or even if you're a girl, try to say that. Try to say, don't be that guy. Like, who cares?
Like, you can be the one to say too.
Yeah. Okay. Before we go back to David, because we're running out of time already, this is amazing. I have one kind of question that's going to fit with like a couple of questions that have been asked. What can a girl do to become a pro or semi-pro in the CSNA community? Like, what can they do right now actively as goals to become a CLG Red or a Dig player at someday?
I mean, if I can answer that, I'd say just play the game. Try to learn about the game. Try to play with people that you know that are already better than you, and then just grind the game. Like, I think that would be the best advice. Anything you do in life, the more you play, the more you practice it, the better you will be. And especially in the female scene, there's so many opportunities that I mean, you can. I hear myself double.
Yeah. So
that threw me off. I'm sorry.
We heard you double. You started glowing.
I was like, what? There's so many smileys right now. But yeah, I mean, there's so many opportunities for women. So like, go for it. Just grind a game, just play, and just. I mean, I think Goose is a very good example of that, because I know her work ethic, or like she practiced so much, and actually she's a kind of role model for me, because I ask her a lot, like, what do you do to be better? Because I know she's already like probably one of the top female right now, and I ask her sometimes, I'm like, what do you do? What should I do to get better? So I think and then she always says, like, set some goals, try to work on things that you know you should work on. And I think you're probably will want to answer that question. But yeah, just like she tells me, like, keep grinding, keep wanting to learn the game, and you'll get better. And I think that's actually it. That's what you have to do.
Oh, thanks, Riley. I wanted to let you guys chime in. But yeah, I can definitely add to that. I think having a good work ethic is number one. If you think about the time you spend doing stuff, if you're just spending time, if you're not using it efficiently, if you're not actually doing something productive with that time, it's almost as if you didn't do anything at all. Like, if I have 5,000 hours in a game, all I did was like match make, run around, fucking Mac 10 everyone. Like, did I gain anything from those 5,000 hours? No. But if I spent like 100 hours watching demos, DMing, KZing, I probably got a lot more of that, actually, because I learned the game. I practiced my mechanics, like actually practice my mechanics. So I think spending your time efficiently is a good way to get better. I think like Smiley said, setting goals I think is actually really important. Even looking back to like I wasn't pro my whole career. Like I never played Counter-Strike before Go. When I joined Go, I felt like I had to compete against people who play this game way longer than I did. So for me, I felt like an underdog when I first started as well. But all I did was I just set small goals. I was like, oh, like I need to learn how to play clutches better. And then, okay, how do I play my clutches better? And then I tried to teach myself. And when I couldn't teach myself, I would ask people who were better than me, hey, what do I need to do better? And now, what I do now, because I feel like I've learned all I can learn on my own. I ask people better than me. Hey, I don't really understand this scenario. Can you like break it down for me? I watch demos a lot now. I watch them a lot more than I did in the past. Sorry. And I definitely think demos, watching people play, is a really good way to learn the game. If you see common reactions from pros a lot of the time, eventually you'll understand like when to make those reactions yourself. If you understand why people are doing the things they're doing, then eventually you might do the same things, or you might understand the game a little bit better. So I think pugging is great, but I do think people neglect the little things that might not be as fun, but I feel like once you get into it, it actually becomes fun. Once you KZ a lot, it actually becomes fun to KZ when it's not hard anymore.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I hate KZ.
Yeah, some of them suck. The ladder maps suck, I'll be honest. But, you know, like you don't have to KZ, but I definitely think people should work on their movement. I definitely think game sense is huge. Mechanics are obviously huge, but I really think people underappreciate game sense. It really carries you, especially like if you have decent aim, but you're not playing rounds well, then what if you don't even shoot your gun? Like, because you're putting yourself in terrible situations. So just something to think about. Set goals, do the extra time if you really want to get better, because someone out there is doing it, and if you're not doing it, they're going to do it, and they're going to be better than you. So those are my
Thanks, Goosey. Okay, before I give the chat back to David, quick 10 seconds shout out, and where can we follow you, everyone? Kimmy, let's start with you. You're muted.
You're muted.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said you can follow me on Twitter, not Twitch because I don't stream anymore. Follow me. I'll type down my Twitter handle,
Perfect.
but Twitter's definitely a place to follow me on.
Thank you so much. Smiley.
Yeah, same thing. Instagram, Twitter, just Instagram, Twitter, because I don't stream too. So.
And you guys are going to compete in both the DreamHack Showdown and the Supergirl event coming up in the next every Friday for Supergirl, and in 2 weeks for the DreamHack Showdown.
Go Able.
Same thing for me. I compete with them, and also I'm very active on Twitter. So I'll link my Twitter in the chat right now. Here.
Awesome. Heather.
Yeah, Twitter's going to be the way to go, I guess, for the business-focused people here. You can also do LinkedIn, I guess.
Guys. And is there anything exciting for you coming up in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, in 12 hours, so I don't know when I'm going to sleep. I'm going to be on the analyst desk of DreamHack Showdown.
Nice.
And for the EU version.
For EU.
I'm watching
Yes,
that.
good luck. We're going to be watching. And Goosey, what's up?
Yeah, you can follow me, Goosebreeder, pretty much everywhere is my handle. Instagram is Goosebreeder CSGO. Everything else is Goosebreeder. Twitter, Twitch. You name it. That's where you find me.
You're also competing in the showdown in 2 weeks. Yay! Thank you, everyone. This was Miss Harvey. It was my honor to be your panelist today. Your host, joined with these beautiful ladies for this panel. David,
thank you very much, everyone. On behalf of Women in Games, on behalf of Able Esports, on behalf of CL Gaming, that was amazing. On behalf of our audience as well, who have been very engaged. So thank you, Steph, sapphiRe, Kimmy, Goose, Boucha, and Smiley. I've just got 3 points to close with. First of all, we have an amazing webinar in 2 weeks' time looking at university esports. So we've had various questions come through on how to make university esports and societies and clubs more inclusive. Women in Games are working on this with the Newell. which is a UK university tournament provider, and taking some of the information from AnyKey as well, the amazing AnyKey. So in 2 weeks' time, we will be talking inclusivity in university esports. Lastly, some of these amazing panelists have agreed to join me in the Women in Games Esports Discord for a further 15 minutes to answer 1 or 2 questions. So there's a link, I put a link into the chat for the Women in Games Esports Discord. Please jump on in and join the esports voice general channel, and not everyone, but 1 or 2 of our panelists are definitely going to be joining us there. Likewise, if you want to get involved in Women in Games, we've got this community going. The Discord has only been going for a couple of months. It's growing very nicely. But once again, just to close, thank you everyone for your time today. We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time at our next webinar, or online in our Discord, or just generally. So thanks everyone, it's been fantastic, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank
Thank you
you
so much.
Bye.
Bye.